Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. In the last episode, we kicked off the trial of Recipe for Turnabout. We cross-examined Detective Gumshoe and just learned about the basic facts of the case. And now we are going to be calling Victor Kudo to the stand, the old man who was in the restaurant that day and witnessed the crime. So, let's get going. January 7th, 11:15 a.m., District Court number 4. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggie Bird. Mr. Kudo, your next witness, please. The prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Will the witness please take the stand? Name and occupation, if you don't mind. The name's Victor Kudo, born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what make me. Mind you, I can be quite emotional at times, too. We don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kudo. Just tell the court your occupation. My occupation? Gah, listen, young'un. How much do you think there is for kimono embroidery around here? Kimono embroidery? That's what I do, or did back in Japan. I embroidered family crests on kimonos. My ancestors were embroidering kimonos before this country even existed. Wow, a real craftsman. They're a dying breed. Hey, maybe he can embroider my costume sometime. Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. I don't know, Maya said she would want you to do that for her. That burger joint would have been better off putting him in the kitchen. Now then, witness, were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident? Well, yes, I was eating some seeds over a cup of Javicino. Seeds? What do you think these are, I see. So you saw everything that happened, Gramps? Did I? Oh, yes, I did. I saw it all. Then please tell the court. We're all ears. Sure. I'll tell you every last detail. He's really getting into this. The young man was reading the sports paper. A serving girl brought him his Javicino, but she put something in it. The man took one sip of it and looked like he was in terrible pain and then collapsed. Asked the serving girl, right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. Mr. Kudo, she is not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress. Ah, you're as bad as the rest of them. All these newfangled words, what's wrong with the old-fashioned ones, Newfangled? All this talk of radios and glasses, it's wireless and spectacles, I tell you. Excuse me? Listen to me, everyone. Don't forget the old values. Don't let the good old days slip away. Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Get this guy off a stand. The young man was reading the sports paper. Cool. The serving girl brought him a Javicino, but she put something in it. Mr. Kudo, that is a very grave accusation. Are you sure about what you saw? Victor Kudo never makes mistakes. I dot every T and cross every I. Wait. I see. My eyesight's fine. The doctor said I only need spectacles for reading and driving. I bet his eyes are only really fine when he's scoping out a waitress. And I saw what the serving girl put into the Javicino as well. I bet I know what's coming up, and something tells me I'm not gonna like it. Your Honor? We need more clarification on what was put into the victim's coffee. I'd like to ask that the witness add what he knows about this to his testimony. I agree. Witness, will you enlighten us, please? Sure. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Oh, shit. Did she really put that into the coffee? You doubt me, boy? She took some out of a small brown bottle and sprinkled it in. Couldn't she have been adding sugar? Sugar? In a small brown bottle like that? Like that? Witness, could you please describe the bottle in more concrete terms? Ha! A bottle like this, perhaps? Oh, there it is! That's the one! That's the bottle of potassium cyanide, I presume? So what did the accused put into the coffee? I think it's clear, don't you? Ugh. The man took one sip of it, looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. He took just one sip? You young'uns, you waste everything. Those Javachinos cost $8. In the good old days, we would have drank every last drop, eaten the cup, and then died. Congratulations. You have earned the title of battiest man to grace a courtroom. So it was an immediate death? With potassium cyanide, I suppose that is possible. Oh, yes, he slumped over without so much as a twitch. I felt the Javachino I just drank turned sour in my stomach. Oh, yes, I know that feeling. And the waitress, I presume she is... You said, I remember her well, in reference to the waitress. Did she have any particular features that you can identify her by? Particular features? It's a disgrace, that's what it is. Sorry? You can see all the way up her, you know, she's practically naked in that uniform. So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit? But anyone could wear just such a uniform, even me. Mr. Wright, please spare the court of any further mental anguish from that image. Don't get all excited, Nick. You gotta keep yourself together. I guess I got a bit carried away. There are other things I recognize about her, too. He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do? Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggie Bird or not. Quite right. Mr. Kudo, these are the features that you recognize about the defendant. I would ask you to add them to your testimony. Sure. There was a ribbon in her hair and her apron straps were loose. This is still about her outfit. Dude, is there anything I can present to say that that's still all about her outfit? It doesn't say anything about her, it says about her outfit. Oh, oops. You do seem to remember several details about her appearance. But what about the most crucial detail of all? Her face. As if I wouldn't remember that. The witness noticed the straps on the accused's apron. He is unlikely to make a mistake about her face. That's right. I can even tell you the color of the ribbon in her hair. It was red. So you see, there's nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight. There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do? I get the feeling there's something more to this somehow. The face, that's what we're missing. The identifying features. You described are all things you would see from the back. So what? Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all? Ha! He's got you there, Gramps. People normally talk about facial features when they're asked to describe someone. But this witness's testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons. And this is harassment! I tell you I'm not obsessed with straps or ribbons! I'm just telling you what I saw! Mr. Kudo, the court requires that you add details about any identifying features. Features that you observed from the front, that is, to your testimony. Sure. This old man's testimony is getting longer and longer. And if I can't find a hole in it soon, it'll get even longer, I bet. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the... Child? Mr. Kudo, I would like you to please take a look at this. That filthy thing would suit felt like you just perfectly. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like, just after he's done eating. Have you ever seen this before? Of course I haven't. Do you think I'd forget something as dirty as that, Well, you half-witted clot. But what is it? Ever since I said you half-witted clot, there's been an eerie silence in here. Mr. Kudo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. And as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means, if you had really seen this apron before, yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't impossibly seen the waitress from the front. Oops. Witness. You can't just oops your way out of this. Ha. Well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial on our hands. Listen, Wright, here are the facts. On the day of the incident, there was only one waitress in the restaurant. That being the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird? Exactly. And when that one waitress put the poison into the coffee cup, this old guy was watching. I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say or you remember seeing. Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps. You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin's in perfect working order. I can't remember a single occasion when I forgot what burger a customer wanted. He can't remember? Probably more like he messed up so many times he's blocking it out. Very well. Let's test just how good your memory and attention to detail is, Mr. Kudo. Tell us what you remember about the victim. It was another one of those pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I will remember that well. Then the serving girl in question brought over the Gyakuten. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. Okay. The testimony we have heard was to test just how credible the witness's memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail. Oh, yes, I hate those you-know-what types who are so vague about everything. How are we going to handle this, Nick? We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot. Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kind of cruel? I suppose, but it's what I do best. I'm a tricky man. Spectacles. Dark glasses to you. One of the lenses was green, but the other was broken. Newfangled rubbish. That's why I remember him so well. He did have some kind of lens over his left eye, but I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses. He seems to have been wearing some rather modern-looking shades. Perhaps I should take to wearing some and rival Mr. Godot's sharp appearance. We better come up with something sharp and quick. Guess I'll wait and see if I should challenge him about the spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. The wireless? A decadent young rascal. In my day, it was one or the other. Read the paper or listen to the wireless. Oh, boy. And using an earpiece. It's selfish, that's what it is. I was straining my ears, but I couldn't catch any of it. Was he that desperate to listen to the radio? What are you looking at me like that for, How dare you feel sorry for me? Ow! Ow! Then the servant girl in question brought over the Gyakuten. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. His free hand? Yes. Which hand was that? Aren't you listening before? Cloth ears? I said he was rustling the newspaper with his right hand, didn't I? If his free hand wasn't his right hand, then which hand was it, you moron? Ow! Ow! Ha! Perhaps the great Mr. Wright has 3 hands. Yeesh, I was only asking. No need to gang up on me and treat me like a freak. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. That this old guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss. I guess we just need to find a contradiction in his testimony somewhere, huh? Anything will do, even the smallest detail. We just need one mistake and he's ours. One mistake. He had a newspaper in his right hand and then let's see. Wait. Then what hand was he... Wait. Is this a... Oh! Oh! He couldn't have done that then. There it is. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory? I know. There's nothing wrong with my memory, I tell you. Nothing. If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these seeds and sing the pigeon song. Care to tell us where this is going, Wright? According to Mr. Kudo, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand, while drinking coffee with his free hand, which would make that his left. What is this, kindergarten? But I would like the court to please take a look at this. That's the cup the victim used, correct? Yes, and on the rim you'll notice the mark left by the victim's lips. Yes, there is a stain left by the coffee. If you consider where that stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand. But how? Well, Mr. Kudo, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those C's and sing the pigeon song. Ah! Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness had better go back to the park where he came from. Wait! If you think I'm gonna stand here and listen to you tell me my manner, you're wrong. I don't care about that dirty coffee cup. I know what I saw. You still insist on your testimony? That young brat was holding the cup in his left hand. Oh, yes, no question. I'm a good law-abiding citizen, I am. It's that dead young hotbot and you spiky-haired yahoo who are at fault. Who, me? Thank you, old man. We've heard quite enough from you already. Don't call me old man, old man. Been around for 68 years, I have. You can't ignore me. Listen to what I gotta say! I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but... Sure, why not hear a little more? Mr. Kudo! But this is my 16th cup of coffee, so this is your final stand. Thank you, Captain. You can rely on Victor! He's gonna have like a contradiction like that's just right in plain sight, isn't he? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. He kept on fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup, too. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor often used by programmers. A monitor? You mean like a television screen? The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. It's called an HMD. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work. HD, TV, DVD, CDs, all these newfangled letters drive me mad, but they don't matter. I know what I saw, and I'm telling the truth. It's true. He doesn't seem to be lying. And those are the facts, in good old black and white. Didn't they say that the victim's, hold on. Same side as the... Dude, you dumb. You stupid. You so stupid. Is there actually another thing that we can... No, it is this, except it just doesn't say it, but we know. We know that the infection was on his left ear. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but... Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observations of the victim. What? You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head when I was sitting. I don't think so. What are you saying? You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo, but the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured. Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. That's right. It's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece in his left ear, because he couldn't even hear in that ear. Is that true, Captain? It is. Pigeon! Pretty pigeon! Pretty bird! Order! This witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the witness from behind, the waitress, and he claims that the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Kudo? A single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic in the cup. This old man is my drop of milk. Captain, are you calling me a drip? This is the victim's coffee cup in which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand. I'll never back down. I know I'm right. The lad drank with his top of tea and with his left hand. Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly, the victim used both hands. He took a sip with the cup he held in his right hand and then switched to his left. That's what the old man saw. Impossible. The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of coffee. Which hand the victim used to pick up his cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. The facts still stand. With one hand or the other, Mr. L drank the poisoned coffee. Like this. Sadly, Mr. Godot, that doesn't wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory was credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. Phew. I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I am satisfied that the witness is not deceiving the court. But to be frank, his testimony is a farce.
Didn't you have to be so frank? Take that, you pompous old booty!
I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, you can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned. Hold it. Will this guy ever shut up?
Wait! If we ever stop now, where does that leave me?
Leave you, Mr. Kudo.
Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there, I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his T's or cross his I's now.
How is your bad memory my fault? I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but there's nothing I can do.
I've kept my mouth shut up until now. But there's something else the court should know.
What? There's more?
To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything. But I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark.
Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil shogun.
Well, everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? The final chapter in this eccentric old man's scrapbook.
Sorry, Gramps. I've already had my 17th cup of coffee.
What have you got to lose, Captain? I'll give you all the coffee you want if you come to my house after the trial. I may be 68 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man.
That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to just hear your testimony.
You bet! Much, much quicker!
I can't believe this is happening.
Ha ha ha! You better get ready, youngster!
I get the picture. Just quit throwing those seeds at me, would you? He's gotta be using some infinite ammo code with that box of seeds.
First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure of myself. The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javachino. Well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Well, how about that? Turned things upside down,
Did he? What? No, he didn't. Is that all?
Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. Yeah, you're doubting me again? You're doubting a poor defenseless old man?
No, we are not doubting you, Mr. Kudo. Don't you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick? Yeah. So what, probably. That's all I can think of, and I have to cross-examine this guy.
You're a bird brain. That's all you can think of.
Very well. Mr. Wright, your final cross-examination, please. Come on, this one's easy. Kudo, please. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. It is nothing. Also, you're lying. I mean, not really lying. Maybe you actually did see it. No, he didn't. It's literally right here. He did not. Come on. Mr. Kudo, this is a photograph of the crime scene.
So what?
Look carefully at the table. The vase is there. Intact.
Huh?
Lost your tongue, Granddad?
I know Granddad of yours, hopscotch! Ow! Ow!
Enough! If you throw any more seeds in this courtroom, the cleaners will be here all night.
Ah!
What is it now?
I just remembered something.
Yes, go on.
The broken vase. It was on my table.
What?
Well, you see. It startled me when that young lad collapsed. So I stood up. That must have been when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean.
The vase on your table?
Yes, it was on my table. And that's how my groin came to be completely soaked.
Oh my god. Bro. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You've certainly earned your kudos for today.
I'd like to ask a question now. Have
Have I been any use at all?
Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo.
Ah! Wait a minute! If that's the case, there's more I gotta say! Oh, yes, I remember something else.
Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom.
Wait! Listen to me!
Well, we seem to have been considerably sidetracked, and I am still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the waitress in question. Additionally, there are 2 disparities in the testimony we've heard thus far. The mark on the coffee cup that the victim supposedly drank from with his left hand, and the earpiece, which was inserted into his left ear, out of which he couldn't hear.
Wow, Nick, you did it!
I therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to investigate the facts.
Yes, Your Honor.
There is one more thing before I call today's session to an end.
One more thing, Your Honor?
The witness we just heard from, he is most insistent that his testimony should be of use, so we summarized it accordingly into this statement. Okay. You may each have a copy of it if you wish. Whatever, the prosecution doesn't need props like that.
Kudo's really mad, huh?
Yeah, I would be too. Very well. Here you are then, Mr. Wright. Here are 3 copies, my own, yours, and Mr. Kudo's.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry? This isn't a piece of testimony, more like a 5-year-old's apology. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies?
That is all. This court is adjourned.
To be continued. Well, that seemed to be particularly useless. Man, alright. I guess a lot of it's gonna come in the investigation then? I don't know. But, yeah. That's it for this episode. Roll the end card.
Objection! You haven't hit like and subscribe yet! Hold it! You forgot to ring the bell to get notified whenever I upload! Take that! Click here to watch more of my videos! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!